during and even before the Civil War, also known as Decoration Day. And this came from folks decorating the graves of the fallen soldiers. It was really an ancient tradition. But what's Memorial Day really? It's not to be confused with Veterans Day. It's a day to remember those servicemen and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. And who does that remembering anyway? Usually it's a veteran. Certainly the loved one of a veteran. A wife, a mother, father, son, brother. Many friends do the remembering, but mostly veterans. Sometimes a dignitary or a well-known political figure or somebody from the community will get up here and they'll give a speech. We'll talk about the sacrifices that those veterans made. But more oftentimes than not, it's a veteran that does the talking. It was exactly 33 years ago yesterday that I got off a bus and stepped on some yellow footprints in a warm, wonderful place known Parris Island, South Carolina. Some of you may have heard of it. It's where my journey began to become a veteran. Nobody special, very ordinary, some people might say, but truly, truly humbled to be here speaking to you today. I want you to look around you. You can see the men in uniform. Maybe there's some women here that I've missed, I'm not sure, but you can see the men in uniform that are veterans, that still, even today, serve this country proudly. And I know that there's some of you out there that are not in uniform, that are veterans. How about raising your hands so that everybody can look at you and recognize you today, because today's your day. American heroes, one and all. But if you ask any one of these veterans out here, they're going to tell you that the true heroes never came home. Today's the day we put aside to remember them and to pray that no other heroes will ever have to die for us again. But that's an unlikely scenario, I'm afraid. It's a day to thanks. It's a day to give thanks for the valor of others, and a day to remember the splendor of America and those of her children who rest in this cemetery and so many others like it across this great nation of ours. Today's the day to be with family and to remember. I'm betting already that some celebrations are starting to form up or taking place as we speak here today. Maybe people will be going to a parade or listening to some music or joining in some other kind of celebration. Maybe they'll have a cookout or a picnic. And that's good, because as I said, today's a day to be with family and to remember. Rocky Gap Veterans Cemetery. This place has so many memories. It's a fitting place for some remembering, don't you think? So many of America's heroes rest here, men and women who led colorful and brilliant lives. They're the greats of the military here, I'm sure. But there are others here known for other great things too. All of Americans' veterans are different, but they all share this in common. They all love America very much. There was nothing they wouldn't do for her, and they loved with the sureness of the young. It's hard not to think of the young in a place like this, because it's the young that do the fighting and the dying when peace ends and war begins. But they shared another common bond too. They were mostly volunteers, relying and depending on each other, helping each other along through America's toughest challenges. There's nothing stronger than the heart of a volunteer, and thank God for making so many of them. I know that many veterans will gather today. They've gathered here, some of them perhaps near the grave of a fallen friend, to remember, and they're still helping each other on today. They were quite a group of youngsters who fought terrible and vicious wars. Sometimes the fight was without enough support from home. Sometimes they were dodging bullets when the folks at home were deciding the value of the battle. It was often the poor who fought those wars. It was the unpampered youth of the working class who picked up the rifles and ran to the fight. They learned not to rely on anyone except for each other. And they were special in another way. They chose to be faithful. They chose to reject the fashionable skepticisms of their time. They chose to believe and answer the call for duty. Did I do that?
just yell at them.
Can you hear me in the back? They chose to be faithful and answer the fashionable skepticism of their time. They chose to believe and answer the call of duty. They had the wild, wild courage of youth. They seized certainty from an uncertain age, and they stood for something. And we owe them something. We owe them first a promise that just as they did not forget their comrades, neither ever will we forget them. There are other promises too. We must always remember that peace is fragile. We owe them a promise to look at the world with a fixed gaze and perhaps a resigned toughness, knowing that we have adversaries in the world and there will be challenges with them. And the only way to meet those challenges is by staying strong. Ronald Reagan said, if we really care about peace, we must stay strong. If we really care about peace, we must, through our strength, demonstrate an unwillingness to accept an ending of the peace. We must be strong enough to create peace where it does not exist, and stronger still to protect it where it does. So, ladies and gentlemen, when this day is done, and you lay your head down tonight to give thanks to God for this beautiful day that we have today, stop for a moment and remember the fighting men and women who sacrificed everything they had for you. Everything. Remember them today and always. I hope you have a day full of memories. May God bless each of you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.